Well, we might ask Jeff here. I mean, I think that a law was broken because clearly this amounted to a public nuisance, if nothing else. It amounted to an environmental hazard because a lot of the materials contained all kinds of pollutions, and you could have contaminated earth and concrete and everything being dug up in these areas and loaded onto lorries and being dumped. So, and there was obviously glass and all sorts of things, but it was the penalties, the power to actually get hold of these people that was the main issue. You couldn't. They came, they went. Sometimes they would have such thick dust you couldn't even see what the registration number was. But there was no mechanism for actually controlling the carriage of industrial and construction waste, and also there was no means of being able to stop or seize the lorries or anything of that kind. And so even though the people on the estate regularly, where they could, they recorded the registration numbers of the vehicles, so there was a record and you could see a pattern, but there still wasn't a means to do anything sufficiently substantial to end the practice. And it was in many boroughs, poor boroughs in London, it wasn't just Lewisham.
Well, the situation prior to Joan's private members bill becoming an act was, as she described, it was very difficult. You could prosecute somebody, but you would have to literally catch them in the act. And the real difficulty was that there was no means of checking on anybody because there was no mechanism for ensuring that people were registered to carry waste. They didn't have to be registered. No.
You could simply say it wasn't me,
That's
just
right.
how could you? And just point about you had to catch them. You'd have had to have people in authority from an authority standing there 24/7.
Yeah.
That's what you'd have to have.
So you actually needed the police to be doing something, but
Yeah.
at that time it wasn't a priority as far as the police were concerned.
Well, actually, by the time I started to get active in the Commons on the issue, yes, I did discuss it with them, but initially, of course, I didn't realise it was anything but a very local problem. But it was the people working for Lewisham Council in environmental health who told me that, they had colleagues in Southwark, and one day they came and said to me, kind of vindication for their warnings to me actually, that one of the officers in Southwark, his wife, he'd been very active trying to do something, and his wife had had somebody come to her front door with a sawn-off shotgun and threatened her that her husband needed to stop poking his nose. So yeah, it was happening.